Have you ever done jury duty?
I've been called to appear, but then always let off the hook before I even had to show up at the courthouse.
I hope that's the case. I have to call tonight to find out if I need to show up tomorrow.
I would think you'd be really into it if you got a good, interesting case.
I just don't like things that are different.
I see.
Megatron must be stopped, no matter the cost.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Autopod Decepticast. This is your weekly podcast that delivers a minute-by-minute breakdown of the 1986 Transformers movie. And this is episode 81, which means we're covering the 1 hour, 20 minute, and 1 second mark to the 1 hour, 21 minute, and 0 second mark. We are in the credits, and this is your host, Aaron, and with me are two guys who are certainly never going to dance again. Their guilty feet have absolutely no rhythm, and, guilty feet or not, I'd argue these mayonnaise-looking motherfuckers ain't got no rhythm anyway, so introduce yourselves.
Hey,
ladies.
I'm Mayo Ryan.
And I'm George Michael.
Beautiful.
I do like mayonnaise.
I do too.
And
Mayonnaise is good.
And this has come up like 3 times in the past week where like I was talking to West and like about how I don't even know how it originated, but like it's the whitest
the
thing.
stereotype of
yes,
white people
like
loving
mayonnaise.
yeah.
Yes.
It's what is it? It's eggs. It's vinegar, right?
Olive
oil.
oil, yeah.
Vinegar? Is there any vinegar in there?
No, well, or sugar and sugar.
What's the seasoning?
It
can be sweet. You put some
sure,
sugar in there.
You can do whatever you want. I mean, basically, mayonnaise is. We should just call it aioli. It's the same exact thing. It's just whenever mayonnaise is putting on airs, it's called aioli.
I think of aioli as herbed. Like it mayonnaise, but maybe with some rosemary or some shit in there.
Yeah, it's like it's stepping out on the town. It's got its evening wear on.
A white tux.
A mayonnaise tux.
Yeah, I love that.
Ew.
Oh, get on that, Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I didn't realize mayonnaise was such a critical ingredient in things like in carrot cake or something, or
really?
like cheesecake, or
I don't think it's in either
All right,
of
never
those
mind.
things.
Never-
I've
You
never.
might be thinking about sour cream
maybe
It's not
or
related.
cream cheese.
maybe no.
No, those are totally.
I know, but I'm
No,
just saying
things that are in
Oh,
those
in the
cakes.
cake. I thought you meant mayonnaise was in sour cream.
Did you know that mayonnaise is in sour cream?
And there's like, you know what? 30 years ago, you could just say shit like that, and there was no way to prove it wrong. You couldn't just look it up immediately and be
Milk is just melted mayonnaise, right?
well, yeah, it has a really high melting temperature. That's why you can keep it in the fridge and it's still liquid.
I remember fondly Christmases growing up. Grandma would always just put a big dollop of mayonnaise in the eggnog. It was great.
Put it on top of the pumpkin pie.
Everything. She was crazy.
So we totally left off George Michael as a conversation topic. He was 17 years old when he wrote that song.
What?
Yeah.
17, he wrote it on the bus, I guess, to school, passing time. And
He was
hated
riding
it.
the bus at 17?
Maybe. I mean, it was Britain.
I guess
everyone,
it is different. Like, I don't know if Britain's the same way, but in some countries, it costs a lot of money to get your driver's license.
Yeah, and in some countries, they actually care about, like, they're just more in tune with mass transit.
Sure, it's it's smaller.
Yeah, it is true.
I didn't do any
United States is
research,
very
any
large.
I
detail
listen.
in that.
There's British bands that I've heard. I listened to a documentary about Badfinger, and when they toured the U.S., they were like, "Oh my God!" We just kept driving and driving between venues. Like they said, some venues were 500 miles apart, and I'm like, "Well, yeah,
yeah,
but for them, that's like driving
from one part of Great Britain to the other.
Or I think even
furthest
further.
region,
I
yeah.
think it'd be like driving to the European continent.
I mean, people are used to different things. Like we were talking about this, it's like being from Wisconsin and coming to, our Arkansas, and it's like, oh, it's 40 degrees, and they're like wearing shorts.
Oh,
Or
sure.
like you talked about, Caleb, on the way up here, if it rains in LA, people lose their minds.
They do. I've seen it happen. I saw him because it might rain this week in California. When I have driven in LA, and you have too, I drove in a pretty heavy downpour, and I saw with my own eyes 3 separate automobile accidents. I saw a guy.
Well, they drive like crazy anyway.
Yeah, I saw a guy, and it was all like their cars would just hydroplane. It wasn't like it was just like all of a sudden the car would just be like, just and hit a median, and I was just like, and I was terrified because like I was not for my own skills, but that somebody was going to hit me.
Yeah, it's like just in a war zone.
Yeah, it was crazy.
And you're being mortared by raindrops.
Yeah,
Well,
it's absolutely crazy.
To be fair, and also like whenever there's like, there's snow in Texas and people can't drive, or like they shut the schools
Dallas,
because there's an inch.
Yeah.
But also like you have to remember their infrastructure is not built for that.
That's right.
It's true.
And apparently LA's infrastructure is not built for rain.
I just don't think anybody should be driving in LA.
Yeah, they should be riding the bus like George Michael did.
That's
when he
right,
was
and they
writing
can
that
write a
motherfucking
brilliant song.
There
That's
you go.
right. I mean, you got a little more time. Way to bring it around.
You got it.
Ryan, do you care to tell the story of when you danced with my youngest stepdaughter to
Oh, God.
Careless Whisper?
Yeah. No, I don't, but I do remember. What was that game? It was like...
It's like one of those just dancey type of
Yeah.
games, and it was like, I feel like it was a snow day or something. Everybody had the day
Yes.
off work, and so
And
you came over. We were neighbors at the time.
Yeah, I came over, and she was like 7, I think, at the time, or
Maybe younger.
6 or 7,
Maybe
and she
6.
wanted to do basically the whole thing is it was on the Wii, and it was a game where you strike poses.
Well,
essentially.
you're dancing.
Yeah, but you're doing
you get,
motions.
But you get the point. I'm gonna say it was just dance or something like that.
Something like that,
yeah.
and you're supposed to match the motions that are on screen. And was that the song?
She she was picking. She just picked a random song.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, dance with me, and that happened to be the song that then pops up
And then
on
I
the
start
screen.
listening to these lyrics, and it's like I'm dancing with a 6-year-old, and this is a super like sexual song.
And not only that, I should say the silhouettes that you had to follow, they weren't like sexual.
No, but
they were romantic.
They're intimate.
Like
there was some like put your flat hands up against the other person's flat hands and move them around like this kind of thing, which you cannot see me doing because this is an audio medium. But anyway, it was embarrassing, I'm sure, for Ryan, and awkward. But for me as a viewer, it was awkward and also hilarious because I knew how you must have felt in that situation, because it's how I would have felt.
I mean,
and you don't want to make a big deal out of it because she's a little kid,
right.
and she doesn't read any of this as weird. She's
Well, as
just
an adult,
having fun.
As an adult male, I'm always
Because she's not a pervert like you guys are.
Well, it's not. You don't have to be a pervert.
It's
That's a
weird.
weird situation.
As an adult male, I'm always thinking like, I hope nobody thinks I'm trying to touch their kids. Like
You put that out there.
Well, I think about it because it's like,
Well, as someone who doesn't have kids or has
yeah,
you're right.
and I have
No, you're
no
right.
reason to be around kids. So when I am, I'm like kind of low key nervous.
right,
Like
I get what you're saying.
Like Kenny lately is like my 4-year-old. He's really into Carolina right now. Like she's so cool, and
Carolina, my youngest stepdaughter,
Yes.
aged
He's like-
10.
yeah, and he's like, can Carolina come over and spend the night and stuff? And I'm like, that's fine. And Carolina spent the night before. It's just like it's hard for me to. Well, I'm sorry, not to get on a tangent, but. There's 2 different levels for him. He's 4. He's like, why can't Carolina come over right now? And I'm like, well, it's a school night, and there's some
little
logistics
bossy
involved.
motherfucker.
Well, he doesn't say it like that, but he's just like, can Carolina come over tonight? And I'm like, no, and here's why. There's school, and then also it's like, I mean, I don't know if she wants to play with him, you know. So anyway,
but she's also got Harrison there as well. So I mean,
yeah, that's fine. It'd be cool.
They're the same age.
Yeah.
Gets in the Kenny time.
Yeah,
and they really get some good time in with Harrison.
And it's different whenever I took Carolina to Incredible Pizza recently, and that's different because everybody just assumes I'm her father or whatever. So that's totally comfortable, and you know.
I will say,
then you spend $80.
When I'm in an airport. Or on a plane, you know, there's those moments, or just anywhere in public, where for whatever reason a little kid catches your eye and they like
they
like
wink.
you, but they like you make a face or something and they think it's funny or whatever, and you're looking at me like, where are you going with this? No, I'm just going back to what you were saying.
To the bathroom. Mile High Club, kiddie division.
Oh God, no! But I like you just have those goofy little moments with strangers who are children.
You do. I do not.
Never.
No.
You never have those moments where a mom is holding a kid and he's over your shoulder and you just won't stop looking at you.
Okay,
and so you
sure.
make faces and it makes him start laughing, and then the mother turns around to see what the kid is laughing at, and it's you.
And you've got it
you're
out.
like, you've got it now, but you still feel a little weird. But like, what does she think I'm doing? Does she think I'm planting seeds?
Oh God, I'm grooming this child.
Anyway, Careless Whisper, great song by a great artist.
Ooh-wee.
R.I.P. George Michael.
That's right.
Hey, quick note to anybody: if you've never listened to this podcast before, first of all, where the hell have you been? And second of all,
Why now?
Welcome. I'll tell you where we've been. We've been reviewing this stupid movie minute by minute for over a year and a half. And if this is your first time here, you should know we've made it through the entire animated sequence of the movie, and we're covering the credits. So if you want to get a true sense of what this thing is all about, I would implore you to pick any episode but this one. But preferably, you know, we'll start right from the very beginning. If you're a fan of the 86 movie, I have to believe that will be the best way to listen to this thing.
Start from the beginning and realize it gets better.
Or maybe start from now and just go backwards. Do a
then it gets
memento.
worse.
Do a memento type thing.
I'd like that.
No, man.
We don't cover news or toys, and so our podcast really can't be dated except for the fact that we talk incessantly about a movie from 1986. But so that's your primer. Hit stop, go back to the beginning, or don't. I don't care.
Whatever.
It's almost like this announcement meant nothing.
Life is meaningless. So, quick shout out before we get into it here. This is a friend of the show, writer, reader, raconteur, and longtime listener, Michael Andrews, a.k.a. Will Write for Pizza, a.k.a. Baby Daddy of the iconic Ghost Moment
That's
guy.
right.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Misattributed to a different listener
For a while.
for a long time, but you know, we got it eventually. And he sent us an email that I just wanted to go over because I think it'll inspire some conversation and maybe with other listeners out there. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to read this. Listening to episode 77 got me thinking of my humble Transformer beginnings. I wanted to share with you as the show proper wraps up. If possible, please discuss on air. Okay, no.
There you go.
Check. The 86 movie will always have a special place in my heart, especially considering I didn't know it existed until I was 13 or 14. I'm a Transformers fan from way back. Without much internet presence and limited access, I didn't know it existed. My cousin told me it was a thing, and we spent an entire weekend driving around trying to find a VHS copy.
Oh my God, back in the dark ages.
Yeah. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he is from the Minnesota area, but
yeah.
But my cousin told me it was a thing. We spent an entire weekend trying to find the VHS copy. Finally found one at Suncoast Pictures. Brought it home to watch it, but I was quite sick with a wicked cold from the weekend of shenanigans. My first viewing was not entirely complete.
He's definitely from Minnesota.
Somewhere in the north, yeah.
But the fever did help make it quite vivid. Because I was missing this gap in the storyline, the show was always very confusing to me when I was an elementary school kid. I watched seasons 1 and 2 religiously, but then I started spending my summers with my grandparents and their cable TV and would watch syndicated episodes of season 3. What in the hell? I loved season 3 instantly, despite it making no sense to me. For a long time, I thought the Autobot leader was named Robinus Prime. Our editorial note, that should be a feather in the cap of listener, Robinus Prime.
Yeah.
Named after the flashy bird with a bright orange chest. Furthermore, I thought he changed into Razor Claw due to the similarity between the graphic on Rodimus Prime's chest hood and
So
the
you
shape
were all
color
fucked up.
of Razor Claw's mane. Am I the only one that saw this similarity? Please validate me. Editorial note, I cannot validate you.
I didn't think about that, but I guess, if you squint.
If I squint, I can make anything look like anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Your show has been an awesome clinic of the film as well as friendship.
Yeah.
Friendship.
Please keep it up long past the credits. See you at TFCon. So we'll look forward to seeing him at TFCon.
See you in the elevator.
And I would say that my experience, and we've talked about this on the show, was similar to his. Though I did know there was a movie, but I did not see it in between the seasons.
2 and 3.
So
Yeah.
season 3 was just like this psychedelic craziness, and but I kind of pieced it together, like with the help of episodes like Dark Awakening. That obviously Prime died. There's a new leader. And even I think there's enough clues to help you understand Galvatron as Megatron. But yeah, it was weird. And I liked it as well, but I wanted to see that movie.
Somehow maybe I'm just, I don't know what you call it, but misremembering. But I want to say that somehow I did see the movie, not in the theater, but saw the movie, and that season 3 made
Before the craziness?
That season 3 made sense to me. Like I knew what was going on. But I can't imagine watching season 3 and being like not knowing what's.
I guess at the time, I don't remember, like, my memory of my childhood is all over the place, where it's like I never know when anything happened. It's all just like, maybe I was 10. But like, as far as this show and movie goes, I know that I probably saw the movie after season 3 I'd already watched. But I don't remember. I think maybe I just viewed TV and movies differently at the time. Well, of course you do. You're as a kid, but like I think I just accepted anything because I didn't think season 3 was weird when I was a kid at all. It was just like, yeah, this is what's happening.
I clearly knew it was a complete, like, shouldn't say completely, but it was a different bird than season 1 and 2.
I mean, it becomes like a space opera. So that's a cliche, but. Well, I don't know. I mean,
they should make a live-action movie like that.
The difference between the two is like Norman Rockwell and Salvador Dali, though. I mean, like that's like how strict a cutoff, in tone and style between the two to me. Like Galvatron in the insane asylum and the like little weird slug creatures.
That's pretty weird.
Mommy, and maybe I'm cherry picking an episode that really picks the.
I will say though, Galvatron is a maniac. Like any episode with him is insane because he is insane.
Yeah, I love it. So listeners, I love this. If you'd like to share your stories of the movie, its impact, let us know. We'll share it. And maybe we'll just compile it into a special episode post-season. It'd be a nice little, compilation.
We both, I think, have some ideas for some special episodes after this run is over. And Caleb's like, I'm out.
Yeah, you guys have fun. I'll call in every once in a while.
I have pneumonia.
I'll have pneumonia again. I'll just have a different illness every week.
Today it's rickets.
What's your excuse to this week? Got the scurvy.
Sick Caleb.
Yeah.
I like that persona.
Sorry, guys.
Just a little bit of news.
Dateline. Transformers. Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. America and all the ships at sea. The Autopod Decepticast has news. Let's go to press.
In case you haven't made your mind up about attending TFCon 2018, we'll make your mind up for you. We, the Autobot Decepticast, will be at TFCon 2018, hosting our very own special panel, revisiting a handful of the most blasphemous moments from the movie, and our favorite script deviations, some horseplay with the help of friend of the show,
a real horse.
Mr. Ed.
Sorry, Mike Seibert. Mike Seibert, there's been a change.
You've been replaced
by a talking horse.
That was an excellent Mr. Ed.
Thank you. No, actually, it will be Mike Seibert, who is not a horse, rather a human being.
He is.
A human. Actually, I mean...
Superhuman.
He's a centaur.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of centaur porn.
He's a god.
Hi, I'm Mike Seibert. I'm a centaur. Hop on.
I'm picturing that animated sequence in Freddy Got Fingered where he...
Hooves! One of the hooves, if he does one of the legs comes down and does this, it does a curly cue and then drops down.
My bum is on the Swedish.
And that is why we're going to our next. I think our next project should be a minute-by-minute review of Freddy Got Fingered.
I wonder if I remember thinking it was funny when I was younger, but I haven't seen it since it came out, and I bet it's not.
I don't know. That might be.
So yeah, Mike is going to be helping us out.
He will.
Yeah, it's finally October, motherfuckers. The best month of the year.
That's right.
And I'll be 41 this year, and we won't be having a Halloween party which is my birthday, because we'll be at the old TFCon.
So buy Ryan a birthday drink at TFCon.
Yes.
I will accept cash or used underwear.
Okay, that's easy for me. I got your present already. For you.
Exactly. Oh, which reminds me, I have a birthday present for you. Hang on.
Oh, you gonna give it to him on the air?
Here, I'll just give it to you right now. A little early.
Boy,
but
oh
it's
boy.
In my hot hands, and hopefully you don't have it already, and it's not wrapped.
Okay.
Because I meant to wrap it.
Oh.
Do you have that, or did you order
I
it?
don't.
hope not.
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't
all
have
right.
it, nor did I order it. This is,
Okay.
ladies and gentlemen, I've just been handed Autobot Cavalier Hot Rod, the original Hasbro toy from the 1980s.
Wow, it's amazing shape.
This is the yes. This is the Walmart re-release of the product. Yeah, it has not been exposed to as much sunlight as probably most boxes toys have been, if any at all. It is. Yeah, I thought
That's
I saw
great.
that, and I was like,
Thank you.
I think I should have that.
The stickers in there, and nice.
I love the artwork of the box art. For
Yeah, it's
these
great.
days and time, and especially the back.
Yep. Look at the back. I like the they have the biography basically of the character, and then that cool red and blue.
Aren't you supposed to like
stats.
put a red film?
There's a red filter that's
So you can, like,
probably in
read it.
here.
What do you think? Are you going to pop it open or?
Absolutely, yeah. I'm
Okay.
not the kind. I mean, no shade on the people who do, but I definitely like to open and play with things. So I will open this later and
Play with it.
Take some sexy pictures with it.
Okay.
So join us at TFCon USA 2018, October 26 to 28, Crown Plaza Hotel, rather, not Clown Plaza. That would
The
be,
Clown Plaza
that would
is
not be
hilarious.
fun. And one other quick shout out: APDC store up soon someday. We've got
Say every episode.
Our posters just showed up. We're
Yeah, they look
I
good.
just need to get the store going.
They look great.
And maybe we'll have some of those on hand at TFCon. Let's move this show right along.
Yeah.
The last episode recaps. The whole gang somehow made its way down from Unicron's eye hole to Cybertron. Anyway, it's been suggested that Skylinks perhaps should have been in this movie and given
that's
them
right.
a ride
Yes.
to down to Cybertron.
Or
But that's-
Jetfire.
But that's not what happened. Yeah, any of those guys. But somehow they made their way from Unicron's eye hole to Cybertron. And despite the fact that a force the magnitude of like 1,000x hydrogen bomb exploded like a mile away from all the Autobots, they all made it to the planet unscathed.
Yeah, you guys gave me shit about this, and I'm still annoyed that you were like, "You're dumb. Why do you care how they got to the planet?" It's important.
I did not give you shit about
You
it.
both did.
No.
You were like, "Oh, that's the turning point. We just watched him drive out of a huge robot."
Yeah, that was me.
That was mostly you, but Aaron acted like I was
didn't
crazy
defend him,
too.
I guess. Rodimus Prime emerged from some kind of building, gave a short inspirational speech, no teleprompters, I might add. Obama.
Shots fired at our former president.
Some final moments of consensual wrist grabbing and celebration, and we pan up to reveal the surprise twist ending of the whole movie. Cybertron is made of dicks.
That's right.
And then we got into the credits, and we covered in alphabetical order from Kranix himself, Mr. Norm Alden, all the way to Buster Jones, who gave life to one of my favorite characters, Blaster. And we're going to kick off this minute, continuing to cover the remaining actors. You'll recall that we don't necessarily want to cover the actors in as much depth as we did previously.
Right.
If you want to listen to that, listen to the previous
Yeah.
episodes. We get into it, but we're going to read each character and associated actor's name. Caleb, you can take
This
the lead
game?
on that.
Oh, I'll do this
This
again?
whole game.
I like this.
And I am going to deliver a one-phrase recap to sum up my knowledge of them. It may or
Okay.
may not be respectful. It might be a string of nonsense words, but hey, you got 80 episodes of quality.
And we got to do it.
We gotta get this thing going. So let's start off right at the top.
Okay, we have Scourge, portrayed by Stan Jones.
Rogues Gallery. And the reason I say that is
Is this a Batman reference?
He's a big Hanna-Barbera Super Friends guy. He played a lot of villains, including Lex Luthor, Kingpin, and Doctor Doom.
I should really quickly interject that if you're really into these voice actors, I have a special segment at the TFCon on voice actors. Mm-hmm. So please buy a ticket.
Take the ride.
Take the ride.
Ride the snake.
Okay, to the lake. 3 fish. Cliff Jumper, as portrayed by Casey Kasem.
Car bomb, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yep.
I don't think we need to spend a whole lot of time on
Right
that.
there.
And speaking of Lotta,
Starscream, as portrayed by Chris Latta.
retreat! 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 Probably got really annoyingly loud.
Yeah, you actually shake when you do that.
There's a YouTube clip that we should put in the on the website. It's a link to a lot of his voiceovers on YouTube, and by far the Cobra / Starscream voice was leveraged the most. But he had tons, like dozens and dozens of different characters. But that profile was used quite a bit.
Wasn't he also Wheeljack?
He was Wheeljack, a very different voice.
Yeah, they're totally different.
Okay, next we have Daniel, portrayed by David Mendenhall.
Worst supporting actor.
Oh, we got the Razzie.
Razzie Award for Over the Top with Sly Stallone.
Love that movie.
Gears with Don Messick. Wasn't too bad. That was a horse sound.
It was supposed to be
That's
Scooby-Doo.
Mike Seibert.
It was
The Minotaur.
clip clop,
Clip
clip clop.
clop. Hooves.
It was supposed to be Scooby-Doo, as this is the original Scooby-Doo from 1969 to 1985.
That was Scooby. I thought it was a horse.
Also, he was credited for Gears, who did not appear in this movie, but he did also voice Scavenger, who did appear. As well, he also did the voice of Ratchet, but Ratchet died and didn't have a voice. So anyway, he's credited for a character he didn't voice in this movie.
Interesting. You could have at least done Ratchet, who did appear at least on screen.
Right.
Next we have Blur, portrayed by Micro Machine Man himself, John Machida.
586 words per minute.
That's too many.
Crazy.
That's referring to his record-breaking words per minute, which he held until 1990, broken by Steve Woodmore in 1990, who spoke 637 words, and then again another person by the name of Sean Shannon spoke 655 words. The Wikipedia article goes on to say, quote, however, Moshida questions the legitimacy of those who claim to be faster than he is.
I would, wouldn't
He
you?
got beef.
Also, like, what a terrible thing to set a record for. Like, I can think of few
worse things to set
aside from
records
John
for.
Machida, that has no purpose. Like, that was his deal, and that's how he made his living. But like, if you're just Frank Smith, is like, I talk really fast. I mean, not right now, but I can. You know, you want to fuck? It's not doing you any favors.
I wonder if John Moshida
Got
used
play?
that in his life. Hey, did he get play based on his fame? But then does it incorporate it into his techniques?
Like cunnilingus? Like he can hit that clit like 600 times a minute?
Well, I mean, at least 586. Okay, next.
We have Hot Rod / Rodimus Prime, portrayed by Judd Nelson.
This biscuit head looking.
Yeah, good reference. New Jack City.
Referring, of course, to the Ice-T line, referring to Judd Nelson's character, Scotty Appleton, in New Jack City.
Yo, Scotty Appleton, yo, biscuit head.
What he calls him a biscuit head motherfucker, I think.
Biscuit head motherfucker.
Next we have Galvatron, portrayed by Leonard Nimoy.
This is an interesting one. Power Trio. Selleck, Goody, Danson of Trois hommes et un coffin.
3 Minute,
3 Minute a Baby.
Did you guys know that Leonard Nimoy directed 3 Minute a Baby?
No, I did not know that.
No.
He did not direct the sequel, but he
directed
directed
the
the original 3 Minute a
Wow,
Baby.
I did not know that. That's actually blowing my mind.
Fascinating.
Which was a remake of the French movie, the name I just pronounced. And it's interesting to me that the word for cradle in French is basically coffin.
What else? Which leads me to think, what else? Did he direct any other blockbusters? Or
I feel like that is the
That
biggest
movie was
movie.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was on. Oh wow. Okay. Next we have Shrapnel, portrayed by Hal Rail.
Still alive.
Yay! Make it happen.
Alternatively, I could have said cool but rude. Give me a break.
Give me a break.
Because he is the voice of Raphael from the original Ninja Turtles cartoon. As a kid, I always thought in that theme song that they said cool but prude.
He does not go to second base.
I also love the 80s, 90s trend of theme songs introducing all the characters and telling you everything you need to know about them. Brady's Bunch?
There's a good Family Guy bit about that, about Maude.
Oh, Maude, yes. That was great.
And then there's Maude.
Notable TV shows to do this: Brady Bunch, Gilligan's Island, Beverly Hillbillies, My Two Dads, which
My Two Dads,
which
who stars the Great Value version of Will Riker as the bearded dad.
Oh yeah, the cool dad. You guys might remember the theme song to that. It went like this: We're in our 30s and we're roommates. We're just roommates. We're not gay.
I do remember that.
We just both fucked your mom around the same time. My Two Dads.
I love that song. Yeah. Dick Butkus.
Is that his name?
No, there's a football player. I don't think that's who it is.
Oh, for Christ's sake! Yeah, Dick Butkus.
Is that who's in that show?
No, but he's a football. He was a coach.
Yeah, but there is a football player in that show. I just can't remember who it is.
Was it the same guy who's the dad from Webster?
Nope.
Okay, never mind.
Next we have
half remembered things from our childhood.
Kickback, portrayed by Clive Reville. Reville.
We'll go with that.
Okay.
There is a great disturbance in the Force. The son of Skywalker must not become a Jedi. That was very bad.
That was pretty good, actually. I liked it.
Who can forget Grand Admiral Hepburn?
Howard. Yes, the original voice of Emperor Palpatine before it was replaced by Ian McDermott on the DVD remakes, because we just got to make it better, guys.
Yeah, I hate that. Next, we have Bone Crusher, portrayed by Neil Ross.
Also, Hook, Springer, and Slag. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Biff Tannen Museum, dedicated to Hill Valley's #1 citizen and America's greatest folk hero, the one, the only, Biff Tannen.
Is that him who did that announcement?
Yes, that is Mr. Neil Ross.
Back to the Future 2.
So he is the narrator behind, or he is the Biff Tannen Museum narrator. He also, I discovered, it was a narrator basically for the Playboy channel. Like, if you were to flip through on the Playboy and hear, I can't remember what shows exactly.
Are you ready to come?
He was their go-to, hot, sexy blondes of the South kind of guy.
It's really hard to jerk off to this because it's pretty clean. Just some tits.
Next, we have Ultra Magnus, as portrayed by Robert Stack.
Crack shot.
Yes.
That's referring to his skill as a world-class skeet shooter. He was on the All-American team at age 16. He set 2 world records and has been inducted into the National Skeet Shooting Hall of Fame.
So fucking interesting.
Which, by the youth's definition of skeeting...
The youths?
The way the youth define skeeting, that would be a fun record.
Oh, yeah. I bet he had that skill, too. It seems like he probably got a lot of tail.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Cup, portrayed by Lionel Stander.
Blue Moon Detective Agency. Mm-hmm. That's a callback for, we mentioned that already, of course, from his quick on-screen appearance on my favorite show, Moonlighting. Speaking of Moonlighting, the last television appearance of our next character was on Moonlighting.
Yes. We pretty much probably, I think he did that. We talk about it in the earlier episodes, but I think he did Transformers and then maybe did Moonlighting a couple of days later, or maybe a couple of days before he actually did this.
I think before, probably.
I think it just broadcast a couple of days before he died.
Who are we talking about?
So next we have Unicron, portrayed by Orson Welles.
The Other Side of the Wind. You guys know what that is?
No.
That's referring to Wells' final film, which is being released on Netflix this November.
Yeah.
Jesus.
There's a hashtag out there called Orson's Last Film.
Yeah, we were trolling
And
them
for a
early
long
on
time,
when we
I was
first
trolling,
started.
like, saying like this is really Orson's last film.
Somehow we thought that was going to make us
Listeners.
big.
Listeners,
Which
if
we
you
think
would
of-
like to troll Orson's last film, please do so.
They're on
You
Twitter.
have my permission.
Great. Great.
Next we have.
By the way, my note here says Moonlighting episode aired 5 days after his death.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Next we have, and lastly, we have the voices of Soundwave, Megatron, Rumble, Frenzy, Wheelie, and Random Junkion, Mr. Frank Welker.
Yay.
Broke Dick Mel Blanc.
That's Caleb Carter original.
Which is, nobody wants to take credit for that, even though I just said it. Which is obviously a joke because we have so much respect for his work,
yeah.
particularly
He's the
Megatron
best.
and Galvatron. Obviously, he's a superstar, but I wanted just to prove that we know he ain't no sucker. I just wanted to benchmark some legends in the game against Frank Welker here in terms of number of credits, okay? So, Lorenzo Music, the voice of Garfield and Peter Venkman, this is IMDb, has 37 credits to his name. And it's hard for me to translate this because I don't know if they count the same characters twice or if it's on an episode by episode basis or or movie by movie. But that's the number of credits Lorenzo Music has. And I have to feel like there was more than 37 episodes of Garfield and Friends, but I don't know.
Look up that Garfield Gab or
Garf Gab.
Oh,
that
Garf
is
Gab.
doing every episode of that on YouTube. It's
Look
pretty
us up.
good.
That's great sense of humor.
Dan Castellaneta, that's some star power, voice of Homer Simpson. He was the Mole King on Tick. He took the role of the genie in subsequent Aladdin projects. He has 222
That's a lot.
credits in IMDb. Billy West, you guys know who Billy West is, I'm assuming. No?
course,
Okay, he's the voice of Fry.
Sure.
And on Futurama, he was the original Stimpy, took over for Ren after that piece of garbage John Kay left the show. Taking a political stance. Look out.
Is it?
And at any rate, 239 credits.
Damn.
June Foray, a legend in the game of voice acting. She was the voice of Rocket J. Squirrel, and along with that, has 322 credits to her name.
Oh.
Mark Hamill of Joker in Batman the Animated Series.
I maintain the best voice of Joker.
Among
So
many
good.
other roles, including he is in the Transformer Power of the Primes. He voices some characters in that. 326 credits. Maurice LaMarche, who's also on Futurama as Calculon. He was the brain in Animaniacs.
I have something about him later.
Industry guy, 349 credits. Tress McNeil, 358 credits. She was Agnes Skinner among many Simpsons voices. She was Dot on Animaniacs. John DiMaggio, who did the voice of Bender, 366 credits. Tom Kenny, we all love Tom Kenny, voice of SpongeBob, but of course Mr. Show.
Yes.
I wonder if, due to SpongeBob, he's got to be the richest voice actor, or certainly the richest guy from Mr. Show. Maybe
I'd say your Simpsons,
outside of Jack Black, maybe.
I would say your Simpsons voice actors are probably some of
That's
the
true.
wealthiest.
That's true.
Absolutely.
That's true. But he sports an impressive 452 credits. So Frank Welker murders all of these people. In fact, as far as I can tell,
literally.
like Frank Welker has 826 credits to his
a lot.
name. The only person that I could find that had more was in fact Mel Blanc,
That's right.
who has 1179.
God damn.
So Frank Welker.
But Frank Welker ain't done yet,
No, that's
motherfucker.
true.
There's still time.
That
Still
is
time.
absolutely true.
See, that should be the record, not the fastest words.
One other note here that I thought it would have been funny. So Frank Welker is the voice of Rumble and Frenzy. It would have been funny if they gave Frank Welker Rumble, but they were like, sorry, Frank, I just don't think you're right for Frenzy.
I don't think Frenzy speaks.
I think they both have the exact same
Yeah,
sort
they're
of
the
like
same
fake
voice.
jersey, like
Oh, wait.
mob captain sort of.
I think maybe they both speak inside of in the
First we crack the shell,
No.
then we crack the nuts inside.
inside of Astro Train. I think when they come out and say, "No one calls Soundwave unchrasmatic."
Like in unison.
I think there's another line after that I just remember. But I think one says, like, Frenzy says one line and Rumble says another line.
The shell and nuts inside is the same. Next up here in the credits, so we are going to just kind of tackle these credits on a kind of overall topic by topic manner, and we've kind of assigned them to each other. And Ryan is going to talk about Wally Burr Recording Studios.
Yeah, voice recording and processing by Wally Burr Recording. And this guy, born in Chicago, where we will be at the end of this month. He is, a legend in the recording industry, basically known for being a perfectionist during recording sessions. And I looked whenever I was Googling him, I found pictures of him, and he kind of looks like Martin Scorsese and Larry Kaufman.
I can see that.
Which I have a graphic if you'd like to look. But then also looking at it, I think maybe they just all look like old white dudes.
Yeah, they do.
Which all end up kind of looking the same.
With his big eyebrows.
This is what the three of us are going to look like.
Yeah.
I'll have thinner eyebrows, but yeah.
Yes, very significant eyebrows on all of them. Maybe that's just why I connected that. His voice, some of his few credits are like G.I. Joe, Jim, Inspector Gadget, Spider-Man, Dino Riders, which I don't think got enough love. I loved that as a kid. And then Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels.
Right. That was all one. And the Teen Angels?
Yes.
Captain Caveman and the Teen Angels.
That's the full title.
That just sounds weird and
it does.
creepy and not right.
I have a game later where we decide whether it's porn or a real title of something.
Like an 80s cartoon.
Yes.
Josie and the Pussycats. All right.
His biggest thing that, aside from being known as a perfectionist and going hand in hand with that, is that he's known for maybe being overly zealous in his recording sessions and exceeding union rules, giving line readings, which is, if you don't know, in the industry, whenever an actor, if you're the director or whatever, you tell an actor how to say something, and they do not like that. Like, say it like this, bump, 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 beat for beat, and he did that a lot. One line I thought that should have gotten a line reading that I mentioned in one of our past episodes that annoyed me was Hot Rod's delivery, Judd Nelson's delivery of Hot Rod's line, Unicron, who's Unicron? Which I thought should have gone more like, Unicron, who's Unicron? Because it sounds like he's been like besieged with this name throughout the whole movie.
Maybe Wally Burr was starstruck that Scotty Appleton was up in this motherfucker.
I thought maybe he was sick that day.
Or maybe whoever his assistant guy was there. Maybe Ken Berger was just there that day.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. And it is the 1987 animators voice actor strike, which limited voice acting sessions to 4 hours instead of 8. Basically, you mentioned, Aaron, Maurice LaMarche, which was Brain from Pinky and the Brain, accused Wally Burr of being one of the people. That's the reason one of the reasons there was the strike. And, he apologized later at a con that they both appeared at. But I don't know, I'm like...
Who apologized?
Maurice did.
To Wally.
He apologized to Wally because he said that, if I was hired for 8 hours, I should have expected to work 8 hours, and that he was maybe a little too harsh. But I don't know, I mean, the sheer volume of people who said shit, I think probably that Wally Burr was an asshole.
Well, whenever I listen to the special features on various Transformers the movie stuff, whenever Wally Burr comes up, there you could tell there's a tension when the actors bring him up, but they'll all say, and I'm sure your notes say that he got results though.
It's true.
That's one of the people will talk about the acting on that show as one of the highlights of the show.
Yeah, and Michael Bell jokingly inferred that Burr was responsible for Orson Welles' death, which I like to think is literal, like he came and murdered him. But that's as a sidebar of that, Michael Bell, I just coincidentally found out that he was one of the characters in the pilot episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Encounter at Farpoint. He played, on the show, on the Transformers show, he played Prowl, Sideswipe, Bombshell, First Aid, and Swoop. But he played Zorn in Encounter at Farpoint, which I actually recorded some, and you can hear Prowl's voice in this performance if you want to listen to this. Hold on.
The source of this, Groppler. Have you any idea?
No, absolutely not. And I find nothing helpful or productive in any of this.
And that's it? No other comment?
Well, what do you expect of us? We offer you a base designed to your needs, luxurious by even human standards.
While evading even our simplest questions about it. We'll adjourn for now.
For Ferengi would be very interested in a base like this.
Fine. Let's hope they find you as tasty as they did their past associates.
Racist against Ferengi, but
Popping those S's.
anyway, I just recognized Prowl because I had the episode where it's I think it's Roll For It, where Chip Chase takes control of Prowl, and I watched that over and over on VHS.
Is that the one where he had the floppy disk that he
ripped
up
with his bare hands?
Hey man, when you don't have use of your legs, your upper body gets hyper strong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there are lots of great
knows that.
videos of this guy, and I recommend going and looking up, like on YouTube, Wally Burr and Frank Welker, where there's a Ravage recording session. At 3:20, Wally Burr's instruction is, okay, this one is angry mauling of a victim. And then Frank Welker does it. There's also a Wally Burr and Chris Latta Laserbeak recording that is available. If you just Google that, you'll find it very easily.
Or go to our website.
Yep, I will post it on our webpage.
autopoddesepticast.com.
Yep, exactly. And he died in July 9th, 2017, 93 years old. Which this becomes a theme. A lot of these guys are super old when they die that were related to Transformers.
That's because the movie and I think the form makes these men very wise.
Like a man on the mountain in Tibet.
Yes, exactly. Like a guru.
Just
sorts.
like that.
Or that they came of age in the time of modern medicine.
Yeah, or they're just normal people.
All right. Well, we can speculate all day long.
Well, next up here, we've got Caleb Carter stepping up with some music.
I did some
credits
research.
here.
Did some research.
Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, hang on to your hats. So the music was supervised by a company called Soundtracks, TRACS. Okay,
So it's cool.
so yeah,
It should have had an X. Then it would have
So
been Z.
Soundtracks was a company that was involved in the 80s with music recording and post-production studio equipment. And they went on after this. I think that they kind of got out of the recording and supervision and got into producing those large mixing consoles that you see when you're like in a
So they're a
recording
manufacturer.
Yeah, so they were making. I think the company was started by some sound engineers. Yeah, actually, yes, it was formed in the '80s by a group of recording engineers. Mm-hmm. So they were doing recording. They were also making equipment, and I think they decided to focus more on the equipment, equipment itself. And they were purchased in 2002 and became part of a new company called Digico. I found I couldn't find any direct information on them dealing with Transformers other than the credit, but I did find just kind of ancillary. I found a Digico console online. Basically, I was thinking, I wonder if we can find the original mixing board that was used for the movie in the studio. Didn't, but found a Digico.
The answer is no.
I did find a Digico console online that we can consider ourselves for improving the sound quality of the ARC studio that we have here.
For our last 3 episodes.
Yeah, and I found the Digico SD12 live digital mixing console. Write that down.
Can you get it for free?
The SD12 is set to raise the bar in terms of what users will now expect from a compact, affordable, multi-application digital console. It is for sale for $94,072,
Jesus Christ.
but $73 shipping only. So
That's not free shipping. That's not included.
no.
Jesus, that's more than my house.
I wouldn't want to ship a $94,000 anything in the mail, in parcel. So anyway, but hey.
Well, in that case, that's cheap shipping.
We might be we might be able to find a vintage one similar to the one used for the movie for under $10,000.
All right, so go to our store and buy 1,100 of our posters, and that'll get us 10% there.
That's Soundtracks.
Very
That's
nice.
that company, yeah.
Awesome. Well, you're also signed up for Vince DeCola.
Diet Vince DeCola.
Yeah, and I was going to bring one to crack open. I made a note that says, I wrote a note that said, I want to talk about Ed Fruge, and it says, while I do so, I'll crack open a refreshing can of Vince DeCola.
Well, I'll add that in post.
Okay. All right, so yes, Vince DiCola, he arranged and produced the music score along with a gentleman named Ed Fruge. We've talked a lot about Vince DiCola, so I wanted to focus more on his creative partner during this era, Ed Fruge.
Which sounds like a cheese.
Yeah, and he is an interesting guy, actually, that went down quite a rabbit hole with him. Ed Fruge was born in 1959 in Louisiana. He is a musician.
Creole.
I guarantee.
Zatarans.
He's a Tabasco. He's a musician and a producer, and his family started a music store in Louisiana in Lake Charles in the 1940s. It is the oldest and largest music store in Southwest Louisiana and Southeast Texas. It is a 2-story, 14,000 square foot mega music store. So his dad went blind in his 20s and became a blind piano tuner. Not uncommon. There are a lot of piano tuners, blind people that make their living doing piano tuning.
Interesting.
So there's one here in town, or was. So that was interesting, but then it got even more interesting. He has a separate production company called EMF Productions, specializing in creative production of film, television, music, commercial, audio spots, and advertising jingles. So I'm going to circle back to that because we need to find something online to watch. But he spent time in the 80s pursuing music, and that's where he met Vince, in the 80s. And so worked with him on various movies. I think that they were, pitched stuff to like Cobra, the Stallone movie Cobra.
Yeah.
I find a lot of these other people, there's connections to Rocky IV.
I think the Touch and Dare, one of those songs was supposed to be in Cobra.
Yeah. So
and Vince DiCola did some of the score for Rocky IV.
This gentleman, Ed, was actually a touring musician with the Frank Stallone band.
Oh yeah, Frank Stallone.
So there was a lot. These guys were pretty heavy into that certain part of the. At least in that circle of
who had a bunch of, coincidentally, songs on the Rocky movies.
Yes, right. So anyway, nowadays he's back. He's back in back in
New York Groove
in New Orleans doing he's
crawfish.
God damn, he's president of Lake Charles Music,
is there a lot of accordion in his modern composition?
No, actually, quite the opposite. Okay. It's a lot of like real synthesizer based, spacey.
Set to the accordion setting.
Sure.
Caleb is so mad.
Fine. But he has. So let's go to Lake Charles Music website.
All right.
He has been making advertisements for his company since the 70s. So, like, he was, and you can find, that's him now, but now these are all of his earlier.
They're all of them?
Yes. What do you recommend? Pick one.
I haven't.
Bank Robbery 1.
Let's do it.
Oh,
they're
it
downloads to your computer.
There not be any viruses.
They're WAV files. I couldn't play them yet. That's him.
How's your day going anyway? Does your job have you all tied up? Having trouble getting ahead? Are you irritated when the least little thing goes wrong?
This is the weirdest shit.
With the Easy Play Fun Organ from Lake Charles Music. Bring fun into your life with music. With Lake Charles Music.
I don't understand.
Oh, wait a minute. This is to be continued. We have to see.
Yeah, we gotta watch all of them.
Bank Robbery 2.
Yeah, we gotta watch all of these. I haven't watched any of them yet because I couldn't get them to play.
Let's get it right this time.
Not you again.
No, we want this Yamaha Fun Organ.
You should go Yamaha Fun Organ from Lake Charles Music.
Whoa!
Get that an organ.
No, we want a Yamaha with more fun features for the money.
Yeah, it's single-fingered play.
How about that organ from over there? No, the Yamaha. 5 years part.
1 year labor warranty. One last request.
We have a Yamaha Fun
It's
Organ.
bananas. That's like they just showed up and were like, shoot whatever.
Watch. He made.
Okay,
all
let's
these.
watch one more. Pick it. What's it gonna be?
Let's
United Nations. I want to.
Yeah, sure.
This is probably racist.
There was an important development at the UN today. It's covered in the special report by Clef D. Sharp. A special session of the United Nations was held today in closed-door session. There was much tension as a result of the broken treaty among member nations.
That's kind of funny.
No, Yamaha. The Yamaha.
Oh my god!
Charles Music. It's the guy.
So Lake Charles Music has a seat at the United Nations.
It's apparently its own country.
So
that was
So
amazing.
anyway, yeah,
That's a
he
nice
made all of
tidbit.
they're still on his website. There are these old commercials that he made, and
If these are on YouTube, we definitely need to.
I'd look.
so
They're
good.
not just his modern day one.
I
Is.
wonder
I bet
if
we
we
can
could
embed them.
Yeah, man, hopefully.
If
They're
not, ladies and gentlemen, do yourself a favor.
Yeah.
Go to lakecharlesmusic.com and have
he-
a fun afternoon.
He is so he's an interesting guy. He's definitely a DIY kind of guy. Made his own commercials back in the 70s and 80s. Then he did the Transformers thing. He's back at the store now. He is in a band, or as of 15. The past 10 or 15 years, he's in a band called ETA. So
Estimated time of arrival.
yeah, and
Is
so
it really?
and so if let's go to that. Let's see if we can find.
Is that on this Lake Charles?
No, I don't think so. You've got to go to just type in ETA Ed Fruge. Welcome to the ETA Trilogy website. This is an album that he put out,
shit.
and he made a logo called ETA.
It looks very 70s like
Yeah.
futurist.
It looks.
And so-
it looks like the what are the Hail Bop people called? The
It
Oh,
looks,
the Marshall Apple.
yeah,
white
the
people?
logo
looks
is
like
very
the Hail Bop cult logo.
the logo is very
Heaven's Gate.
So the meaning behind this logo is it's an album. It's a double album that he put out with this other gentleman named Tony Dupuis. And so you've got three aspects of the album. You got the light side, the cool side, the light side, the cool side, and the hot side.
Like the McDLT.
So you see- So if you go to the light side, you can see the kind of music that's featured there. And there's an awesome
Whoa.
picture of him playing in space. I can't make the image any bigger, but he's playing his piano in space. He's got like a headset on, and he's playing a guitar.
Oh my god.
And then there's the hot side, and so basically there's the as the logo symbolizes, the trilogy is conceived as a music in three categories: the hot side, the cool side, and the light side. And so for the light side, it experienced the ethereal contemporary piano pieces of the light side of ETA's trilogy and be transformed into present time, peaceful, meditative, and contemplative. And then let the smooth jazz elements of the cool side elevate the energy level with melodic instrumental jazz cuts, and enjoy the soulful singing and positive lyrics of the hot side of ETA's trilogy, featuring a magical combination of the gruff vocals of Dupuis and the smooth vocals of Fruge. I'm almost done with this guy, but I just want to say,
thank God.
here's the reviews about Trilogy. Local entertainers Ed Fruge and Tony Dupuis are a couple of Lake Charles's hidden treasures. They sing, they write songs, and together they play a myriad of instruments. Their songs feature the gruff Michael McDonald-like vocals of Dupuis and the smoother Kenny Loggins-type vocals of Fruge. Their concert is a unique, energetic assortment of songs that use electronic drum keyboard technology. Let me skip here. There's one. This one's an interesting review. From jingles for corporate customers to rock and roll in area clubs to writing soundtracks for movies, Ed and Tony have played it all. And along the way, they built businesses that let them put bread on the table.
Oh, it sounds like they had some real downtime.
All the while, the music kept going in their heads, pouring out onto paper and tape into the wee hours of the morning. And as Ed says in his song Magic, originally written for Disney, don't give up on your dreams. Follow them through, and that's what these two guys have done. And
just
What
guys,
year did this
made
album
it
come out?
sound sad.
I think in the '90s, late '90s maybe. But I read that and that was inspiring to me. Don't give up on your dreams, follow them through, and it reminds me a lot, guys, of what we're doing here at the APDC. Because we've definitely been DIY guys, and so I kind of look at this guy as kind of a kindred spirit of sorts.
Oh,
for
great.
us.
Now I'm real depressed.
So that's Ed Fruge. Seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, thanks
done
for
some
going
neat
down
stuff.
that rabbit hole.
Yeah, so-
Those videos of his vintage
Yeah, you're
commercials
gonna put those-
are amazing.
we should put those up.
I will try to embed them, yes.
Yeah, and Lake Charles Music's still there. Maybe we should go visit him sometime.
Where is that?
Louisiana. Oh, baby, I'll guarantee.
Gumbo!
Crawdaddy.
Sorry, Louisiana people.
All right,
Well, you talked about Fruge.
Yeah.
Not much else to say.
about Fruge. Okay.
All right.
Hooray!
Technical advisor Charles Calello or Calello.
Hi, Calello.
He born in 1938. He is an American singer, composer, conductor, arranger, and record producer. Born in New Jersey. In the late 50s, he was a member of Frankie Valli's group, The Four Lovers. He was, by the way, I'm sorry, he was the technical advisor for this the music for this movie. The group originally was called the Four Lovers, but he left before the group was transformed into the Four Seasons.
4 Seasons,
yeah.
yes.
And in '62, he became the group's musical arranger, and in '65, he joined the Four Seasons lineup as a bassist. He departed the group, though, becoming a staff arranger producer at Columbia Records, and became an independent producer and arranger, and a year later arranged Frank Sinatra's album Watertown. So I guess this was a big moment for him. I guess he's well known in the industry as a musical arranger. He has worked with Streisand, Sinatra. He's the guy that did the arrangements in Neil Diamond's Sweet Caroline.
Caroline.
So that's him.
Wow.
Your grandfather's music, ladies and gentlemen.
And all the drunk people at the piano bars.
That's right.
Yeah.
All the white drunk
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, I love hearing that. Springsteen, the album Jungleland, or the song Jungleland on the album Born to Run. Born to Run is by far the best Springsteen, in my opinion, album ever made, and there's a lot of orchestra stuff in it. He's responsible for that. Did a good job. He has over 100 Billboard chart records, 38 which have been top 20. That is Mr. Calello, I apologize.
I think Calello.
Music editor, we got Fruge again. We've talked about him at length. Musical score engineered by Tony Papa. I could find very little about Tony Papa.
Thank God. No critique of you.
No shade.
He apparently he gets some special music thanks on Rocky IV. So there's a connection there again.
He wandered onto the set one day.
And he apparently was the music engineer on the Weird Al show that Weird Al had. Synthesizer programming, Casey Young. Casey Young has designed synthesizers and programmed electronic instruments for a string of albums and movies over his long career. He was a keyboardist in the late 60s, and let's see, he began programming synths such as the Synclavier for studio recordings as well as live concert events. He became the go-to guy for creating sounds and sound design, so you can see where he's coming in handy here for the movie. Let's see. He did studio projects with Johnny Gill, the band Yes, on the Michael Jackson's Bad album, Tina Turner, and a bunch of smooth jazz artists. Again, a special thanks on Rocky IV's credits, oddly enough.
So weird. This becomes a theme where, like, a lot of this, in my stuff too, where, like, it's a lot of people, like, it's a very small world with all these people.
Small world. So I have a list of the synthesizers used for the Transformers movie.
Oh, good.
And I won't go into detail except that I did find there's one here called the EMU Modular Synth. It is a huge system comprising of 5 cabinets. It's the largest EMU system. And here's a good picture.
It looks like...
There's a picture. It looks like a switchboard.
It looks like a switchboard from, like, the 1940s.
Yep.
And so to do the different effects, do you connect different?
Yeah, you do.
Like
oh my God!
Yeah, and these were analog synthesizers before things went digital.
There
were some digital ones at this point in time, but they were still bringing out some of the modular ones. This is a modular system, polyphonic keyboard and sequencer. Basically, you create sounds on these by manipulating patch chords to direct the signal through the modules above the keyboard.
So plugging in chords to 1,000 different little...
Yeah,
little
you can do about anything. You just got to really experiment.
Jesus Christ.
Whereas today, I just have to hit a button with a picture of the accordion on it.
Exactly.
That's right. What I want. Yeah, that's right. You love accordions.
Bringing it all home.
So so I'm done now. That's all I have for this episode. Sorry, guys.
No, to apologize
some
for
work and.
I didn't realize. I thought we were going to be hurting for content. Turns out we weren't. So
I knew that we would be. Is this unlistenable? I don't know.
Ryan, I believe you have a little bit of information about the Scotti Brothers records and tapes.
Soundtrack album on Scotti Brothers records and tapes. Spoilers, now defunct. They began in 1974 with Tony and Ben Scotti, and their first real success was with Leif Garrett, who is now mostly famous for child actor syndrome. Yeah. Like, he is...
I think he made a guy paraplegic. Like, I think he got into a car wreck and...
It was a big deal.
Oh, no.
You didn't...
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Basically, I just looked at a picture of him, and he's 56 now and looks 76.
Using both legs, though.
Leif Garrett, we're sorry.
I'm not.
Okay.
Seems like an asshole. I don't know. That was purely... I have no idea.
Okay, well, I really am truly sorry.
His first hit was I Was Made for Dancin', which was from 1979.
His second hit was that guy in his
I
car.
Was Made for Hitting.
Oh my God.
Does not dance in the video. Apparently, I like the song, though. He also starred in Cheerleader Camp in 1988, which is available on YouTube, and no one is monitoring it in full, so you can go watch that. I do like that movie. And there's also a terrible singing scene where he raps, and it's basically like the Mr. Show skit, where it's like a rap, a rappy rap. It's god-awful.
So he was the first Scotti Brothers?
Yeah, he was their first big hit.
He's what launched them into the stratosphere.
Scotti Brothers Pictures, they went into that and merged with All American TV in 1991 to become All American Communication, which was they produced and distributed Baywatch. Which, for our younger listeners, was basically David Hasselhoff and Pam Anderson, beach lifeguards running in slow motion.
Yeah, sexy.
Yeah, and they tried a couple other things to to parrot that success, but didn't really go anywhere. And then that leads us to Weird Al, who, why is Weird Al's Dare to Be Stupid in this movie? And like you said, Aaron, I think, he was on the Scotti Brothers label, and he jokingly says, somebody called me up and said, hey, you want to have your song in Transformers the movie? And he was like, sure. How'd you get this number? Making it happen, Al. It's good stuff.
I think all the artists on this album were Scotti Brothers artists.
Yeah.
I think so.
I believe. Weird Al arguably being their heaviest hitter.
Sure, yeah.
Which is pretty obvious because when it was bought by Sony Music Entertainment in '97, they canceled all their contracts with everybody except Weird Al and Survivor, who did Eye of the Tiger in Rocky III.
That's crazy. All these connections.
I know.
Rocky goes to Rocky.
Yeah.
You should see the diagram I made with all the strings on my wall connecting everything. Yeah.
It looks like a FBI.
Absolutely. It's like yeah.
I don't have Rocky in my little part here.
What's the conspiracy thing we always say?
Follow the money.
Follow the money.
Cui bono.
Yeah.
Who benefits? Yeah. Follow the money.
Yeah. There you go.
I guess that brings me to discuss the final topic of this minute, distributed by CBS Records. So, in the music industry, the distributor manages the logistics of getting music into retail space for ultimate consumer purchase. This could be like getting them to music stores, big box stores, bookstores, whatever. And so as a label, Scotti Brothers would sign contracts with artists. They would oversee recording, marketing, promotion, and all that. But CBS Records would then pick up the ball and move those units into retail. And CBS Records, obviously, today music distribution is very different than it was in 1986.
Sure.
As most units are digital, but there's still a role to play in bringing music to fans. There's still physical albums, and it's just, the job is somewhat different. But about CBS Records, it began life in 1929 as American Record Corporation, which itself was a conglomerate of several record companies. It eventually acquired the Columbia Phonograph Company, which had a monopoly on sales and service of Edison phonography and cylinders in the District of Columbia area.
Electric Sports Bra.
Is Columbia, which is the old record company that's got the picture of the dog staring at the old...
I think that's RCA.
That's RCA, okay.
So...
that's Nipper. Is the name of that dog.
Interesting.
How about that? So,
go to me for all the dog facts.
So, basically, Columbia ended up, they produced, a lot of record companies at this time are, they manufactured, but they also would produce records because that's just, sheet music. This is before records. So the primary mode of music sales, the primary thing that happened was sheet music.
Yes.
And what would happen, basically regionally, these companies would record local artists, but doing the popular songs of the day.
Sure.
So and then that is what would ultimately be sold as records or the cylinders that would go into these phonographs.
And a quick thing about that. So during the sheet music era, you had a lot of, everyone had a parlor in their house and had an upright piano. When
the sitting room,
they were selling hundreds of thousands of copies of these, which was a lot back then. For people were just buying to sit down and play it, and so they were very popular.
Right. So ultimately, according to my notes, in the year 2938, Columbia Phonograph Company was acquired by Columbia Broadcasting System.
By aliens.
Now, 1938, Columbia Phonography Company was acquired by Columbia Broadcasting System, a.k.a. CBS, who ultimately renamed the subsidiary to Columbia Records. 1966, Columbia was just renamed CBS Records, and from 71 to 91 was known as CBS Record Group. So technically, they should say distributed by CBS Record Group. But, and then ultimately, as you kind of alluded to earlier, Sony acquired CBS Records for $2 billion in 1991. That's $3.7 billion in today's dollars.
That's a lot of money back now.
But it operated as Sony Music Entertainment until 2004. There was a joint venture with Bertelsmann to form Sony BMG Music Entertainment. Ultimately, Sony acquired Bertelsmann's 50% stake in the company, and the company now operates as Sony Music under its parent company of Sony Entertainment in the giant corporate umbrella that is Sony Corporation, which is housed in Sony City, Tokyo, Japan, with revenues of 6.6 trillion yen, or about 58.5 billion US dollars. Artists under the CBS banner back at these times, around the 80s, included Judas Priest, Wham, and Ray Stevens were distributed by CBS Records.
The other parody song guy.
Yeah, the broke dick Weird Al.
Yeah.
Exactly. Oh yes, they call him the Streak.
Yes. But that's CBS Records in a nutshell. And CBS is one of those, Sony is one of those major. You have labels and you have distributors and publishers, and I think CBS/Sony is one of those that can operate as all those. You can sign a deal that does all of that with them. But for the purposes of this, they were the distributor. So that brings us to the end of this minute.
Oh fuck. Listeners, was this interesting?
Script deviations. Wait, sorry.
Next time on the Autopod Decepticast.
We are going to rehash the songs, and we're going to talk about the production staff. Who the hell are they? Designers, background artists.
I swear to God, it's interesting.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I think this is all very interesting. So, quick reminder, TFCon USA, October 26th through 28th, Crown Plaza, Chicago. And we're on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and TuneIn. Social media, @APodDcast, and the web presence, autopoddecepticast.com. I think there's going to be a lot of good stuff to put on there.
Oh, yes.
iTunes users, you should rate and subscribe.
5 stars, please.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, bye, bye.
Let's watch one more commercial.
Thank you. Cheers.
Caleb, tell Aaron the 2 Kinney things you told me on the way here.
Oh, he says funny things, and
usually when people say that about their kids, it's definitely
it's
not true.
No,
but this is funny.
and I know, being friends with you guys for so long, that I know what you would likely find funny. So I spare you all the other stuff that I think is,
Just
funny,
adorable,
but,
but not really funny.
Right, exactly. Yeah, thanks.
Stuff like Hitler had some good ideas.
Yeah, we were driving home the other day, and I don't know how we got to this conversation. Usually, I don't know how we get to any of our conversations, but because he freezes.
Because you're blackout drunk.
Well, because he's just in a perpetual state of free association.
Sure.
So, and I'm blackout drunk. But he goes, we're talking about me playing piano, and he goes, "You should play weird. You should." Then he goes, "You should play. You should make people think that your keyboard is broken." And they all stand there and stare at you, and you just keep playing.
I can picture him saying
that was awesome. I was
that
like,
weird smile.
That would be great. And then the other day he was like, "There are right ideas, and there are left ideas. Both ideas are okay."
It's very philosophical.
Wow.
But I do like the idea of people just standing and staring. I've kind of had that happen. Last night, by the way, I forgot to add. So it just sucked, but something I forgot to tell you, and there's nothing more, in my opinion, more frustrating, and I've had this happen more than once in this day and age. I look out at the audience, and there's 5 people out in the audience, and every single one of them is looking at their phone. And we're playing our hearts out, and the motherfuckers of all are out there, just, all of them looking at their phone. And I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? It almost
What did you make? $15?
I made $15 last night, and I had to
Which
pay.
is good for
And I
that
had to pay
night.
$5 because that parking lot now is gated. So I mean, realistically, I made $10.
Right.
So I don't. If he books another show there, I'll say I don't want to play there anymore. It just,
Right.
It just sucks.
It's not worth it. I would think it wouldn't even be worth it to him.
Yeah.
Like
No,
a night
but
off.
and that's what kind of annoyed us. He's on one hand he's a consummate professional in that if there's he'll play to an empty room to fulfill his obligation for playing, but but then he goes to a bit over it. For example, like, well, we want to play, and I'm like, no, I really don't want to play tonight. I mean, it's not going to be worth it to us. We're not making any kind of guarantee. Well, I'd rather just hang out and do something, either
At the brewery.
get drunk, or obviously we're supposed to be packing this weekend, and I've had a show Friday night and Saturday night, and
this bullshit.
So
Gonna take up all your afternoon.
and he's like, So anyway, there you go. All right, so let's not. That's,
You should play like.
I should have played like that last night. I should have made
play
people think my
weird.
keyboard. Yeah, I could have gotten away with it, and no one would have even noticed because their faces are buried in their phones or they're not there.
Sorry. Let's watch credits.
Yeah, let's watch
That'll
credits.
That'll pull us out of this.
Oh,
Blow cells, where we sell good.